This show is brought to you by DF Studios Limited. Whether you're a business owner or entrepreneur, DF Studios will guide and assist you on the best ways to promote your brand digitally, in addition to creating visitor and customer generating content like blogs, social media posts, videos, and even podcasts like this one you're listening to right now. Visit dfstudiosltd.com or hit up info@dfstudiosltd.com for more info.
All right, so haven't done this in a while, but let's talk a little Oscar for a bit, right? So we're gonna start things off with the Oscar nominated, well, I should say Oscar nominee for Best Documentary Feature. That will be Navalny, right? And me going in completely blind, right? So, of course, it's based on a true story, but I didn't really know much about what the subject matter was about, right? And after watching this, I'm like, wow, like I didn't even know all this. Boy, Jesus, should watch CNN more, right?
Right.
But yeah, but Ricardo, did you watch this? Oh,
Right. So
no.
I was okay. So I didn't watch this. I watched part of it, scanning through it, kind of thing. And but why I didn't really watch it or decide to sit down with it is because I was kind of familiar with it just through the news. Like I was somewhat familiar with the story, as it is. So I don't know. That's all I
All
feel
right.
up. Yeah.
I can understand, right? Like if you are familiar with the story itself. But what this show does very well actually is, well, not just zero in on the man himself, because yes, he is front and center. He is the central character in all of this, of course, and he is the main interviewee in all of this, right? So Daniel Roher, right? Whose work I'm not really familiar with. I know I should be, but yeah, but he's basically behind the scenes, and ever so often you'll hear him in the background asking Alexei some questions, right? But yeah, at the end of the day, this is Alexei's story. He's front and center, and everything that you see here is just a recollection, if you will, of just all the events that played out, right? So what this is about in a nutshell, right? It centers on a Russian opposition leader by the name of Alexei Navalny, right?
Mhm.
He quite famously throughout his career lashed out at Vladimir Putin and the Kremlin, right? So one thing he does so well though, and is pretty smart though, given his age, right? Because around the time when he started, he was in his late 30s, right? But yeah, he came into the game around the time when social media was really blowing up, right? So imagine a guy like a politician like him, right, who is saying all these grand things basically, right? Using social media apps, right? He's using Instagram, he's using TikTok, you know what I mean, to spread the word basically, right? And of course, Twitter, right? So, of course, Vladimir and the Kremlin, sorry, pretty much don't like this guy. They don't like what he's about, what he represents, and all that kind of stuff, right? And in his case, it's about him wanting to be president, and basically, because the people need someone that they could trust, right? Not Putin, right? So what happened is that on a trip to Siberia now, he gets poisoned.
Right.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and everybody assumed that he is dead, you know what I mean? Because he was going through all these severe pains and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
But
What kind of
look,
poison it was again? Polonium? I forget what happened.
it's a nerve
Radiation?
agent. It's called Novichok. Novichok.
Okay. Right. No problem.
Right. And the show actually explains how it works. So it gives you, like, it kind of shuts you down, but
Yeah.
only for like a short period of time. And then it kind of removes itself from the host
Right.
itself. So it's like it doesn't even exist now. So
Yeah. So right, to cover your tracks there. Yeah.
exactly. So the untrained eye, you just thinking you just catch a cold or some virus or something like that.
Right.
But
Right.
no, it's something like really life threatening, right? But yeah. So on a trip there, he gets it. He was, and the show actually does this very well. They use a lot of news footage. They use a lot of like smartphone footage. So literally, you see a smartphone shot of him in the plane, more or less screaming in pain, right? Because
Right.
the nerve agent was doing this thing, right? So he was sent to Vienna in Austria, for treatment, and his wife is there, right? But while all this is going on, his team and all too, they suspect that something is off there. So it's not like, oh, he just ate something or take pills or whatnot, right? Because yes, there was some other newscasters that were saying the same thing. Oh yeah, he did all this stuff and he was taking all these pills and bad medication, blah blah blah,
Right.
and
Yeah.
side
So
effects,
it was
right?
a
But no,
misinformation against him.
exactly, and what the show really covers well is well, the difference between information and misinformation, and how
Right.
easily somebody could get swayed by it, right? So yeah, once he recovers, now he realized, well, through another guy, I forgot his name actually, but he is involved with basically with data collection, if you will, right? So he knows a lot about, just simply put, like, see somebody travel from point A to point B, he could get that information from someone, right? He just knows, the people, he knows the tools, the apps to get those things, right? And he helps, Alexei pretty much, he pretty much exposes the fact that, yeah, there's this group of individuals. Now, I don't want to call them assassins, but they technically are, yeah, who pretty much follow this guy from Moscow to Siberia and poison him, right? And you pretty much see just how he was able to expose them to the world. But where the show, where its finale really comes in now, is his return to Russia and what happens from there, right? And I'll stop there. So, as I said, I didn't even know anything about this guy going in, but I won't lie though. Like, I saw early reviews and people were saying that this felt like something like out of a Hollywood thriller. But the catch is that it actually happened in real life. And when you really think about it, it really does play out like that. Just the idea of, oh, this guy who wants to stand up to the man, what I mean? He's saying a lot of things that need to be said, but somebody tried to take him out. And, everybody saying, no, it's not the government. No, it's somebody else now. And he is going out of his way to find out who it is now. So in a strange way, in a kind of a metish kind of way, it's almost like, oh, you left me for dead. Now we're going to come back for revenge. It's kind of like that, right?
Right.
But what the show also does very well too, like,
yeah, real counter Monte Cristo thing they're trying to do there. Yeah.
like it could have easily been that, right? But
Right.
actually, no, it's really about Alexei himself and why he does what he does, right? And even though there was this huge setback with the poison, no, he was still able to pick himself back up. Thankfully, he had his family by his side. Sorry, he had his team that was dedicated to his cause and whatnot. And yeah, it's just pretty much seeing him just pick himself back up and just go forward in his cause, man. And I must say, though, just as a whole, though, as far as the documentary goes, this is easily one of the best documentaries I've seen in quite some time, though. And
Nice one.
this,
Right.
and as somebody who was rooting for Fire of Love to win Best Documentary Feature at this year's Oscars, I kind of rooted for this. I have a feeling
Okay,
this
nice one.
this
Wow.
show really has a huge chance of winning, man. Mainly because, and this is unfortunate because I actually saw this after the fact. Now I actually went up on CNN's YouTube channel and I saw Anderson Cooper interview between him, sorry, not Alexei, between Anderson himself and Alexei's daughter, right? I forgot her name, but yeah, slight spoiler. Well, in case you don't know, Alexei is incarcerated right now, right? And apparently he's been going through, the people there, right? The people who have him in, under maximum security and whatnot. Yeah, they are pretty much like, yeah, straight up torturing him, right? Just slowly
Right.
but surely torturing him, man, right? And unfortunately, there's nothing that his family could do about it, right? Like they do even allow visitation as well, man, which is really sad, right? I think if I'm not mistaken, he's only given like 35 minutes to write. So yeah, like whether it's writing a letter or going up on Twitter or seeing something, he only have 35 minutes to do that, and then he has to go back into solitary confinement now. And I mean that's like real sad now. But I mean the show pretty much ends with him being arrested anyway. But I didn't know that he was going through all this hardship right now. So it's kind of convenient that this film is out right now. So, like, for people like me who didn't even know who he was, now it gives other people like me, the chance to understand who this man is. And yeah, pretty much just support his cause, man. Because yeah, his cause is a valid one, right? You know what I mean? Just bring down these idiots at the Kremlin, right? But what I would say though, just in terms of his drive though, and his courage, right? It's both inspirational to me, right, personally, and frightening at the same time though. Just thinking just a man in your early 40s, right, with a wife, son, daughter, and pretty much saying, look, I think I could be president, right? I think I could bring down Vladimir, right? I want to do that.
Yeah.
And I have, and it's not like he's just, on the soapbox and just 2-3 people like, saying, yeah, you know what I mean? No, he he has a lot of people riding with him. He has a lot of supporters on his side, right? And you can imagine how they reacted to when he got arrested as well, right? There's actually a powerful scene near actually it closes off the film. Unfortunately, it's spoiled in the trailer where, yeah, he gives this message of hope to, the Russian people, and basically to tell them not to give up, right? So yeah, you can imagine how much they're fighting right now to bring awareness to Alexei's situation, and yeah, just pretty much to get him out of jail, right? But yeah, I would say just in terms of how this film is constructed, though, it's very, very well done, right? Alexei is just so charismatic, but he's so likable, right? I just love how this show just shows this guy, right? And it's not like somebody who just woke up one day and say, "Yeah, I want to be president." No, he was in this for years. He knows what he's about. And again, he has the Russian people supporting him, right? And I also love too that the show kind of shows briefly, but it doesn't like stay too long on it. Yeah, just how powerful that is, right? Just the idea of standing up and just speaking out, right? You see just how challenging that could be in a world like that, right? And you could understand somebody being as brave as him, just saying, yeah, this is what I want to do, right? But of course, there's consequences, and he knows this, right? He's not stupid, right? But yeah, he's willing to just go all in, and even he himself is like, what? If I go down with it, at least I have my message. At least I could just continue. Well, if I the idea basically is that I just want people to know that, yeah, we need to fight back, right? And it's just how he was able to do that, right? So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, sorry, yeah, I absolutely love this, man. I am actually rooting for this to win Best Documentary Feature, and I do hope that if it does, or what it does or doesn't, I should say, that not only more people, check this film out, but actually learn more about Alexei, like learn about his cause, learn about what he's fighting for, and yeah, just show support basically, right? Because not like we're all gonna fly over to Moscow or to Russia and do something about it. We could actually show our support from where we are right now, right? And yeah, I mean, not much more I could say, man. Strong 4.5 out of 5. I absolutely love this.
Okay, nice.
I wish I saw this last year, though. This would have made it to my best stuff for sure, man. So yeah, rooting for this to win Best Picture, and I hope that more people do check it out and are aware of what this guy is about and what he's up to. Sorry, what he's about and what he represents. Sorry, and lastly, though, yeah, man, free Alexei Navalny, boy. Just, I mean, just free this guy. Just free this guy already, right? That's all I have to say. All right, I don't know if you have anything to weigh in on
Not really. I kind of familiar with the story and his whole thing, but yeah, I wasn't super. But it feel like something I want to learn anything on. I don't. That's why I didn't take the effort. It's probably bad timing too. So I should just take the time and watch it sometime else. I'm sure.
Right, so let's talk for a bit about Infinity Pool. This is the newest film from Brandon Cronenberg. This would be the son of the legendary, Canadian director David Cronenberg, right? Who we all know for his body horror, film experiments, if you will, right? Whether it's Videodrome or Crash or Naked Lunch, what I mean? And even like A History of Violence, which had nothing to do with body horror, but it had some moments of graphic violence as well too. And it had a great, performance from the late great William Hurt, right?
Yeah.
But if you don't mind, Ricardo, a way to do the synopsis for this, right? So for me, right, I saw Brandon's previous film, that would be Possessor, right? I didn't get around to reviewing it though, or maybe I did, right? But I remember you really
loved
enjoyed
it.
Right, well, right. You loved it. For me, I wanted to like it though. Like it was good for what it was, but I just felt like just the story just needed a little more punching up. I just felt like he just because it's a Cronenberg film, right? Yeah, he kind of rely a little too much on shock value, right? So there's like moments of like extreme violence just because, right? Like I just wish that the story kind of like was able to support that, right? Because yeah, I mean when it comes to David Cronenberg and Brandon himself, they are provocateurs, right? They are the type of people who will just find ways to just make you squirm, right? So case in point, last year David Cronenberg dropped Crimes of the Future, and my main criticism with that is that he didn't provoke me enough. I just kind of watch it like, all right, that's it. Okay, well,
that happened.
It weird, but all right, But I know you really enjoyed it, Ricardo. But I just kind of came out with wanting more. I remember your big criticism is that it felt too dated, the conceit, I think.
Yeah, a little bit.
Right, but yeah, I just wanted something along the vein of like a Videodrome or Scanners, like moments where I'll be like, oh shit, something like that. Now I didn't really get that with that movie, right? With Crimes of the Future. And with Possessor, I just felt like story-wise, it was just kind of lacking. It was just like, oh, just the shocking, disturbing stuff, just for the sake of it, right? But I'll just say this much though before we get to before you do the synopsis. I think Brandon really has found his path, or found his, not so much his calling, but just found his identity as a filmmaker, man. Because yeah, this is I don't even want to say a considerable step up. This is a huge step up from Possessor, in my opinion, though. And I would say right off the bat, This Brandon Cronenberg though is a name that you want to keep your ears to, man. This guy have a solid future. For this guy has a solid future for him to look forward to, man, for sure. Especially with how great I must say this film turned out. But yeah, Ricardo, Infinity Pool.
Yeah, right. So basically, is this author by name of this is James yeah, and his
Yeah,
wife
James Foster, played by Northman boy.
Northman, yeah, the Northman
Yeah.
boy, yeah, right,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
very good.
Well, I should say I went into this blind, so I didn't even know who started. So Alexander Skarsgård, and that's okay. All right, but yeah,
Right, and then we'll play like, yeah, and the wife played by I forget the wife name M or Emma.
right.
Right, yeah,
She
okay.
is played by
Coleman.
Cleopatra Coleman.
Yeah, fine as hell, right? So
I know, right?
yeah, so yeah, they went to the a little resort where it have a kind of local festival going on, and yeah, they marriage a little bit on the rocks, and this is worse when McGill and Mia got come true.
Yeah, I was like, hey,
Yeah, and she doesn't.
Pearl and Maxine show up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, McGill Mia got us in this way.
Yeah, well, she's like a little bit of a fangirl, so things get kind of off now. But she come through with her husband, and before them have the dinner together and they chilling out. But she kind of done bad now. You realize that now, and so things start where she give him a little handy and it
Yeah.
Yeah.
That happened. Mm-hmm.
yeah, that happened. So yeah, they start,
Remember, it's provocateur, right?
but then,
That's what it is.
yeah, things get kind of wild now is they accidentally kill somebody, run him over the car, and you realize that it have too much drama because she claimed that well, this place so corrupt and they can't tell the police and so on so forth, and then well, my boy get arrested, and that's when things start. You know, the bullshit start. So from there on. So yeah, that's the conceit. What you learn is that if you spend a good bit of money, you could get somebody cloned. Cloning is a thing in this universe. And you could have replaced people with money replace them with clones and have also a drama with respect to that. And yeah, so that's where it starts. So I like this, but I liked it about as much as
Possessor?
Crimes in No, Crimes in Future.
Crimes in Future. Okay.
Right. I'd like Possessor more. Possessor to me was a more interesting conceit, to be fair. This was pretty cool, right? It does get wild. I ain't saying no. It has a little parts, got involved in something with a little boy and a knife. Oh my god. Yeah. But
yeah. That happened too.
yeah. But I kinda was not too blown away by anything, to be fair. I don't know if I'm too accustomed to wildness, or I think I went in knowing it's a Cronenberg, so I know what to expect. But I wasn't so super blown away. I liked it, but I didn't love it. But it was still good. It's just more the imagery, especially the ending, and apparently we had a breastfeeding, so that was when things kind of get a little creepy and weird. But like the stuff with when he was on drugs a little bit and so and so. That is when it was cool, but the actual plot itself wasn't like mind blowing. It was just good. Like this kind of interesting, kind of good. It get weird, it get wild, but it's more. I feel too much of it felt a little too shock value-ish. That was my thing with this. So I watched this once. I wasn't thinking about it too much until this review, and so I couldn't say I was real super into it, to be honest. But it was still pretty good, right? Still pretty good, but nothing to like really. I didn't have me thinking too much, but good. Like it's still good. I don't know. That's how I feel about it.
All right. Well, I can understand where you're coming from in terms of you finding it good, but just not blowing your mind, right?
Okay.
And I would say story still need punching up, right? What
Right.
I mean is that the story itself is straightforward, right? But there's just like for me, I just felt that there were gaps that needed a little filling in, right? Now you can make the argument, well, it's a horror, the less you know, the better, right? That's kind of the excuse that always bringing up with the our review of Men, right? Which I talked about alongside Crimes in Future, where there was a lot of weird shit going on, but it's like, well, it's up to you to figure it out and wait for a video essay to explain stuff. But I just felt like in this film here, they could have been a few moments where they could have explained certain things, right? So case in point, slight spoiler. The cloning aspect of it, right? Just this idea of, okay, instead of convicting these people and executing them, we'll just clone them, kill them, and just let the original people scot free. But then you realize, well, in the case of James, the character of James, he's the clone, right? I also love how the film actually set it up too, with a nice
which I kind of call
zoom
which
in.
I predicted. Like I was like, okay, anytime you do that clone shit, it's the twist gonna be, well, he was cloned before, they do it before, and you didn't think, whatever, normal thing. Yeah, go ahead.
Right, yeah. So I wish you can explain that a little bit, because even while I was watching this and I was enjoying it, still there were moments where I was like, but logically that kind of don't make any sense.
Yeah,
though,
the moral of it,
don't.
that whole moral and ethics of it don't make any sense to me. That justice system don't make no sense. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. It probably have some like reason. Again, I'll probably have somebody gonna put out a lecture, a video essay about it and explain the context and subtext of all of that. But I just reading it on the surface and seen it once, I don't get it. Like, I don't get why it's that way. Like that,
Yeah.
the logic, it don't make sense to me. Yeah, go ahead.
And I mean, characters hint at, how crooked the justice system is and all that kind of stuff. But still, again, instead of executing the people, you clone them and kill the clones, or kill the original copies or whatever it is, and leave the clones. I don't know, right? But it's one of those things, like, if you just stop and think about it, it just sort of unravels the whole film, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't wanna point the blame at Brandon and say, oh, you should have told the story of Clever, right? But I think the gist of what he was going for, this is just me defending him, right, is that he just wanted something kind of weird, but something that could, kind of have you guessing at the same time too, right? Like, it's not meant to be realistic, but it's just meant to be weird, we're like, oh, what if this happens in the future, whatever it is, blah blah blah, right? But anyway, but for me personally, though, I absolutely enjoy this film, though.
Right.
It just roped me in from the word go. I would say just right off the bat, right? This has some of the best opening and closing titles I have seen in a film this year, where it's just so creative, right? I don't want to spoil what it is, but I will just say, think Stanley Kubrick, A Clockwork Orange.
Right.
Or just think Stanley Kubrick, Dr. Strangelove, right? And how creative those titles were. Just think about that when you see this, right? It's weird, but it clicked with me, right? Also, Brandon himself, though, just really shine as a director here, boy.
Yeah, no, I thought he was pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, like, dog, the cinematography on point, the framing, blocking on point. Just watching shots like, jeez, boy, okay. All right, Brandon, show off now with your DP, Karim Hussein. I'm just reading the name here right now.
Right.
Yeah, they just knocked it out the park, though. This is a gorgeous looking film, though, I must say, right? And then, well, also too, who sells this film as well? Alexander Skarsgård and Mia Goth, though. They absolutely killed it in this, though. Especially Mia Goth, though. She really surprised me, though, in terms of I would say she really, really have a bright future as far as starring in weird horror films, though. Because last year we were praising her for work
2 movies
in X and Pearl. Which reminds me, you saw? Did you see Pearl?
I eventually saw Pearl, yeah, but I didn't see it in time to put it on my list. So guys, I would have put it on my list.
Yeah, Mia Goth, I mean, wow. I did not expect her to play. I didn't expect her to play a femme fatale in this, though. But and yeah, I mean, from the moment you see her and just how down bad she was on Alexander's character, just like, yeah, something up, right? And that's the more the show goes on, the more you realize how full of shit she is, right? But yeah, where they took her character was great, though, and just how she bounced off it with Alexander was great as well, right? Alexander, his character is put through the ringer in this in a Cronenberg way, right? Because he goes through a lot of weird and humiliating things in the show, right? And it's one of those things where you're like, you kind of laugh. On the one hand, you could kind of laugh at it and say, yeah, you look for that because you're dumb, and these random strangers come to you and say, yeah, let's go for dinner. And you're like, yes, you know what I mean, like, without even thinking twice, right? You in a country you in a brand new country that people just invite you to do some stuff. You're just like, yeah, okay, we expect will happen, right? But on the other hand, I do like how his character, because again, it's Cronenberg, right? Degenerates, right? Because he starts off kind of innocent and naive, and then he just ends up getting more twisted and just more messed up, right? But speaking of Brandon, and going back to Possessor, yes, it gets some, psychedelic imagery as well too. And I would say those moments in particular work. There's one involving Alexander and Mia's characters and some other people. That's all I'll say, right? And I was just watching the technique of that, like that real cool. Like I want to know how to do that. Just that particular style, how they blur.
That style is interesting. Yeah.
That's really really cool. I won't lie, right? Yeah.
You know, one thing it did as well, it did these interesting slow, I want to say zooms or dollies. I couldn't tell. Like it feel like kind of these weird dolly zoom going forward stuff but the very.
You're talking about in the beginning of the film, right?
Well, it was halfway thing. Like it had a moment with the dinner and some of them, but it's like a little like I turned into the film as such.
Right.
But
right.
ever so often you saw these like slow dolly zooms. So it's these long takes. And just the camera slowly going into it. And like, okay, that's an interesting look now. Like I get why they do it. But so those stuff like that. Really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And I won't lie though, Brandon was showing off though. Like early on in the film, right? There's these like closer Dutch angles, if you will, right? But yeah, it's just the camera just, revolving, right? I just watching these shots like, all right, Brandon, you're showing off, you real showing off way. You know what I mean? So yeah, I would say it is from a directing standpoint, Brandon just killed it, right? The writing, I was engaged. I won't lie, I was engaged from the word go. I actually really dug how the story was playing out, and especially how it ends. It's so bleak and ironic, but I was just on board, right? And yes, it does go deep and dark and disgusting and grimy, but I would just love it all that. I was just amazed. But I mean, you can't expect it from him, right? But I was just amazed at how Brandon just kind of took us on this ride, and pretty much at the point that you will just see something really off, and it's like, well, oh, you want to turn your back now? No. So you just locked in from the word go, though, right? But yeah, I will confess that the story just needed a little bit more clarification, right? Just right down to the whole cloning thing. I wish they explored that a little bit more instead of just it's just the justice system, blah blah blah, right? And yeah, I mean, as a whole, believe it or not, I really enjoy this, right? Way more actually than Possessor. But then again, I have a feeling if I watch Possessor again, I would really, really appreciate that, man. But yeah, I would say again, just repeating what I said earlier, Brandon has a bright future as far as filmmaking goes. Like he is literally a chip of the old block.
What I like about him is that he, on the one end, is clearly the dad's influence, but you don't feel like he mimicking the
copying from his dad.
He does really feel that does his own thing with it now, within the framework of what the dad is doing.
Yeah. And lastly, before I get to written though, I read up actually on the wiki page that some elements of the show were inspired by his trips, going to hotels and going through experiences. So I guess that's why it has this kind of vibe of this is this could happen to you, that kind of vibe. Like, I want to be extra careful, extra mindful if ever you go to a foreign country. And if there's like one message the show have is just be careful when you fly out, right? So that's it.
Right.
But yeah, at the end of the day, this is not going to be for everyone, and not just because of the dark and transgressive content. I have to stress on transgressive, right? But yeah, just the flow of the story and, what you may or may not expect from it, right? But for me, it had me roped in from the beginning to the end, though, where it took Alexander and Mia God, though, I was just amazed by, especially Alexander, though, like, he put himself through the ringer with this one, man. Again, Brandon for the win, boy. Brandon have a bright future as far as just trippy, sci-fi horror films, though. So for me, rating wise, I'm gonna give this a strong 4 out of 5, man. I can't believe this. I really, really enjoy this, right? But yeah, again, I do wish that there were a few narrative threads that were, that could have been tied up, right? And yes, like you, I guess I'll look forward to the video essay that will explain, certain things that were not properly emphasized in the film, right? But yeah, again, I did not expect to enjoy this as much as I did, man. So yeah, Infinity Pool is a real deal, man.
Right.
Yeah, so Ricardo, your final thoughts on Rating?
Yeah, Rating. Yeah, I still give it a reasonably high score because of how film technique, and even though the movie does stick with me, and the story, again, you, as I say, need a little bit of punching up. Actually give it a okay score. I'll give it like a 8 out of 10, closer to a 7. I liked it a lot for what it was trying to do and say, but I find it, again, the logic just had to square with that. Again, somebody, in a couple of months ago and explained why I missed that point. I'm like, oh, okay, that's why. Right, that kind of shit, right? So, 8 out of 10 so far. I really dug it, actually, for what it was trying to do and say.